Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, episode 12 of This Week in Pro Wrestling Roundup, whatever you want to call this series, where I finish up the week in the news in pro wrestling. And now we start off with Impact Wrestling, which was their go-home show to Rebellion, which is on Sunday. Can't wait for that. And, it should be a fun little show. We start off with Kenny King versus Kazarian in a fun little X Division style match. And this is for the advantage for either Team Bully Ray or Team Tommy Dreamer for their Hardcore War match at the pay-per-view. Like I said, both did really good. Looks like Kazarian is going to win via the chicken wing. Then all of a sudden, we have Brian Myers on the apron distracting the ref. Moose with a big spear behind their back. For the 1, 2, 3, your winner, Kenny King, advantage, Team Bully. Now, it is then revealed that, Good Hands aren't going to be in this match. It's going to be Moose and Brian Myers. So, makes sense that this would happen. So we'll see what happens from here. Next up, this actually happened before the show during the Canadian National Anthem. At the time they were taping in Windsor. Out comes Steve Maclin to interrupt, pretty much do a spiel about how he should be champion. Kushida comes out and they just brawl all over the arena for a bit. They get separated. Maclin gets a chair then. And then Kushida drop kicks it into his face. This match is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for it. And now we get a little X Division flavor wrestling, as we have a fatal 4-way. We have Black Taurus, Lince Dorado, the current MLW middleweight champion, Rich Swann, and the returning Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid has been out with an injury for a bit. This is his first match back on Impact. I believe he had a few AAA shows that he did, so happy he's back. Started out with Taurus as a House of Fire. He's the big powerhouse dude. Eventually the others get him down. They face off with each other. And man, a big old Spanish fly from the top on Taurus from Laredo Kid to pick up the victory. Hopefully we get to see Laredo Kid as X Division champion at some point. I think he deserves it. Next up, we get a bit of a backstage thing with the Death Dolls, talking about what happened to Taya Valkyrie. She's all elite, but apparently she's now in the undead realm, which, clever. So Rosemary is preparing to go to the undead realm to go get Taya back, but apparently the portal, which is a casket, which is disturbing on so many levels, it won't go. So, it looks like Taya's going to be all elite for a while. Maybe she'll come back in the near future. We'll see. Which then leads into a one-on-one match. We have Jessica versus Taylor Wilde. Bit of a short match, but it was still very entertaining. With Kylan King looking like she's going to get involved for Taylor Wilde. She's one half of the tag champions. Rosemary cutting her off. And then Taylor Wilde going for her finisher, the Witch's Wrath, which, that's metal as heck. I love that finisher name. For the win for Taylor Wilde. We then get a couple of backstage vignettes from Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo, pretty much saying, we're waiting on to hear the news of Mickie James, and we'll see what happens at Rebellion. Next matchup, we got a tag team match playa as Dirty Dango and Joe Hendry take on Callahan and Angels of the Design. At many points, we do get to see Diener kind of mess with Callahan a little bit, including on tags. He would pull him off the apron and they would argue. Then Hendry hits the standing ovation for the win for Dango and Hendry. I'm going to say this. The design has been a little weird since Eric Young got killed off and is it Joe Doring? Yeah, Joe Doring left for with his cancer. Yeah, the design has been very weird. Like they don't seem like a big enough threat anymore. Maybe it's time to do something else with them. We then get Big Con and the rest of the design attacking Dango and Hendry. Out comes Santino Marella to make the save. And he brings out the Cobra. Right to Angels. We get to see that at Rebellion. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun as hell. We then get a one-on-one contest between Giselle Shaw and Tasha Steele. This was a very, very good match. These two did work a little clunkily together at first, but then they seemed to gel a bit more as the match went on. It looks like Shaw's partners, her entourage on the outside, is set to get involved, but the ref throws them out. And then Steele wins with the roll-up. That was a fun match. It did finish a little bit flat, but I feel like there is something there. So, yeah, fingers crossed we get to see a little bit more. So that is our main event match, but our main event segment is the Mickie James announcement. As it turns out, she has to relinquish her title, and the match at Rebellion will be between just Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. Which, that's very sad. I do hope Mickie James gets better soon, and comes back stronger than ever. And honestly, I'm ready for that. It's sad Mickie James had to go the way she did, but honestly, Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo, that should be a fun one. Next up, we got a little Ring of Honor wrestling. As we first have Arya Daivari versus Mark Briscoe. And what started as a kind of one-sided match, but then turned into a very competitive one. But then Mark tries for the J-Driller. Mark Sterling, who is Arya Daivari's second, gets on the apron, distracts the ref. Then we get the J-Driller for real. And Mark Briscoe gets the win. The rest of the varsity athletes attack him post-match, and he is saved by his other buddies, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, FTR. And honestly, that's cool as heck. I'm glad they are doing that crossover. And yeah, we'll see what goes from there. Next up, we have an Eddie Kingston interview. Says he suffered an injury from Claudio at Supercard. So he's going to be out for a while with a hernia injury. He said after this match he wanted to quit. He wanted to blame everyone but himself. But he is not going to, thanks to his family. And once he's ready to go, he's going to get back on the horse. Next up, we got Mike Bennett versus Darius Martin in a very good match to start it off. Eventually, Matt Taven does get involved and the Kingdom just start beating down Darius Martin for the DQ win. And Action Andretti comes to save the day. I haven't seen Andretti in a while. Good to see him on TV. And it looks like going forward, we're going to see Darius and Action Andretti team up against the Kingdom. At least with Dante injured. Get well soon, boy. We then get a very hard-hitting bout from Wheeler Yuta and Tracy Williams. These two have definitely faced each other before, but this felt like Wheeler Yuta, Tracy Williams owed Wheeler Yuta money or something. Like, this was a beating from both sides, and honestly, I put it on my must-watch list. This was a fantastic bout. And, Wheeler Yuta wins with the Dragon Sleeper. Good on you, Ute. Let's see where you go from here. Next up, we got a tag team match playa as Alex Coughlin, a trainee at the LA Dojo, teams up with his teacher, Katsuyori Shibata, the current Pure Champion, to take on the Workhorsemen. And honestly, I was half expecting a squash match here, but ultimately this was a great little tag team match. And Alex Coughlin really, I think he really showed out for this match. I think Coughlin has a future in wrestling, and hopefully he reaches for the stars. And then, of course, winners via the sleeper hold into the penalty kick, Shibata and Alex Coughlin. Now, post-match, we see Coughlin and Shibata raising each other's arms. Coughlin then turns to Shibata, points at the Pure title. Yes, please. That would be an amazing bout, especially after what these two pulled here. We then get another fun bout featuring Dark Order's Stu Grayson and the Varsity Athletes Tony Nese. Like, these two really gelled right from the get-go. A lot of pure striking, but then a lot of high flying, which is surprising from Stu. Then after a running miss into a roll up, and which only goes for a 2, we then get a big old running knee strike into a backbreaker for the win for Stu Grayson. Then post-match, out come the Righteous. That's Vincent and, I'm blanking on the other dude's name. I'm sorry. And they were looking right at Stu. Now, in promo, Vincent pretty much says, "Oh, Stu, you left Dark Order high and dry. They continued without you. But now that you're back, they just welcomed you back with open arms like nothing happened. Under me, that wouldn't happen." And it looks like Vincent is trying to recruit Stu Grayson for the Righteous, in which I think that would fit really well. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Dark Order. Dark Order's my boys. They're a couple OGs. Maybe something new for Stu wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Next up, we have a pseudo number 1 contenders match. I don't know what to call this. It's a prove yourself match, as Athena takes on Ashley D'Amboise, who is making her Ring of Honor debut. This match was really, really good. A lot of hard hitting. At multiple points, I thought Ashley was going to win, but then Athena takes her to the outside, double knees to the chest, into the ring steps, back in, face, your winner, Athena. Now backstage, Ashley is in the middle of an interview when Athena attacks her from behind and pretty much says, yeah, I need more competition. Give me some more valid competitors. In which, yeah, I do kind of agree. Although I loved the Yuka Sakazaki match from Supercard. That was great. And fine Alamo for Ring of Honor. Our main event of the evening. And it's for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship as Claudio Castagnoli takes on Metalik, the King of the Ropes. And honestly, this was a great power versus speed mix of styles match. Like, it's awesome. You definitely had Metalik going for his quick stuff. Claudio definitely kept up, but he definitely went for more of the technical / power route, including a big old uppercut into the hammer and elbow, straight into the neutralizer for the 1, 2, 3. Winner, still Ring of Honor champion, Claudio Castagnoli. I'm going to say this, go look for this match. This match was just about perfect. There were some issues for this match, but overall, I had a good time watching it. Now, next up, are you ready for a good time? It's time for SmackDown. And we start off with a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn promo. Pretty much flabbergasted that they main evented WrestleMania for the tag titles, came away with them, and now they're ready to defend them whenever, wherever. And out come the Usos, who are pretty much saying, yeah, we'll take that bet. Pretty much say, oh, if once you lose those tag team titles, Sammy's going to turn on KO, which, I mean, is a good point. Sammy did turn on the Bloodline. So, maybe there is something to that. Who knows? I wouldn't mind a heel Sami Zayn. Bloodline then surround the ring. They're ready to fight. They start to beat down on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Out comes Matt Riddle for the save. Then backstage we see Solo Sikoa and Matt Riddle will main event SmackDown tonight. In which, yeah, that makes sense considering it was Solo who put Matt Riddle on the shelf for so long. And also he was in a bit of legal trouble. I won't talk about that here. Next up, we had a very fun match, although a very kind of overly simple reason for this match. We have Xavier Woods taking on LA Knight. Now, of course, both of them had nothing to do with WrestleMania, so Woods was backstage playing games. LA Knight comes up, pretty much says, this is what you're doing, you're a child, and then breaks the controller, which leads to this match, which was a lot of fun. A nice hot opener, something a little different for LA Knight, who's been dealing with the Fiend. Oh, sorry, Bray Wyatt. A lot of good back and forth, but then near the end, you'll have LA Knight with a roll-up. He has Xavier Woods' tights in the roll-up. Ref catches it, doesn't count. But then Xavier Woods counters, roll-up, leverage with the tights. 1, 2, 3. Winner, Xavier Woods. I don't love LA Knight losing here. It makes it feel a little bit silly, but I guess, we'll see what goes on there. We then get Imperium backstage. It looks like they're getting ready to do something. In comes Xavier Woods with his trombone. Gunther then warns him, we're trying to do something here. You go away. He does at first, but then he comes back with the trombone. Gunther then basically says, look, you approach me like this. You obviously want attention. What do you want? Woods pretty much then says, well, I've been on a bit of a roll lately, and I feel like I'm ready to step up to you for the Intercontinental title. And honestly, I'd be down for that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's probably going to be the most one-sided fight ever. But, yeah, it's something different for Gunta. I'm definitely cool with that. Then we get a backstage vignette, kind of heart-to-heart between Sami Zayn, Riddle, and KO. With Sami Zayn pretty much telling Riddle to be careful in the main event. Solo's a monster. And you are obviously, on the one hand, you know what it feels like to be on the other end of the Samoan spike. Then KO is basically like, no, you can't deal with these guys like this. You need to go full force right at them. And then Riddle pretty much says, yeah, you do. Both of you have some good points, but I'm going to do this my way. We then get a everyone in Judgment Day but Finn Balor promo backstage, pretty much saying, we already beat Ray. We did what we needed to do. We were ready to move on, and Ray puts his nose in our business. They then take it to the ring, show Priest chokeslamming Bad Bunny a couple of times, and then out comes the LWO. Well, first out comes Zelina Vega on the ramp, then the rest of the LWO, minus Ray, jump them from behind, which, honestly, I like that Legado del Fantasma has a bit of a new identity. And this leads into the Damian Priest versus Santos Escobar match, which was a nice little high-flying versus ground and pound powerhouse match. And it got Santos Escobar over. Like, you could legitimately hear Santos chants and LWO chants. Like, they're over. That's awesome. I love that for them. About midway, rest of Judgment Day distract the ref, which causes a big old clothesline from Priest onto Santos. Rest of the LWO get involved, but then they get dominated by Damian Priest. From out of nowhere, Rey Mysterio with the crossbody on Priest, which that was insane. We then get a little face-to-face between Dom and Rey. They start beating each other. Rey looks like he's going to get the 619. And Priest saves Dom from that fate. That match was absolutely excellent. Of course, winner Damian Priest. It's just a shame that Santos couldn't have won that match, but I do understand. We then get the Bloodline backstage with Heyman pretty much saying, Solo, you got embarrassed by Riddle. That's an embarrassment to the rest of the Bloodline and the NOIE family. Solo then puts his hand up, stops Heyman from talking, just says, I got this. And honestly, I believe it. We then get a celebratory promo from Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for winning the tag titles. They're kind of, glad-handing each other. Out comes Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Chelsea Green's character, but this team does not work for me. And then basically, it's revealed Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville are the next challengers for the tag titles. And that ends up in a brawl. So, yeah, that was fun for what it was. We then get Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Madcap Moss in Nakamura's first match back in the back on TV. He's been off for way too long. Nakamura is way too good to be off TV for this long. Pre-match, you have Emma pretty much saying, they should be cheering you like that. and Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner. You're the future, blah, blah, blah. 20-second nothing match. You get the greatest hits from Nakamura, maybe some offense from Moss, but then we get the Kinshasa, winner Nakamura. Looks like Emma is encouraging Moss to attack Nakamura. Nakamura then gets him in an armbar, which was absolutely nutty. And looks like Nakamura's next feud is going to be with Karrion Kross, which could be interesting if Kross was that interesting. And then we get our main event, which is preceded by a promo from Heyman, pretty much saying in 2 weeks we're going to have the Usos are cashing in their rematch. So that's going to happen. And then he turns to the Usos. Usos are still focused on Zayn and Owens. And he pretty much says the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, is losing his patience with you. And yeah, I understand that. And the subtlety in that is just beautiful. This then leads into Matt Riddle versus Solo Sikoa, which was an absolute banger of a match. Great back and forth. While Solo tried to go for his power moves, Matt Riddle would slither out and hit more speed stuff. He then gets caught by a super kick, Samoan spike, winner Solo Sikoa. And then we have Riddle on the outside, and Solo slams him on the announce table, and while he's down, he flips the announce table onto Riddle. Then Zayn and Owens help him get out of that. That was a fun match. Like, this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. And, yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Now, I did catch a pretty good chunk of Rampage. I did miss the opening match between Aussie Open and Best Friends. For whatever reason, it started at 9:30 last night. I don't really understand that, but whatever. I caught the middle of the FTR promo, pretty much saying we fought for everyone, the fans, for us, for the titles, and we are ready to give back for our last 4 years, and then that's it. So, yeah, it looks like FTR is locked in for a couple years for AEW. That's awesome. We then go into a promo from the Hardy Boys, Orange Cassidy and Hook, and they're ready to beat the Firm and have Hardy Party on their own for now. We then get a 10-man tag between the Spanish Announce Project and Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Jeff Jarrett. Ugh. Yeah, that alliance sounds weird in my head. They pretty much squashed the Spanish Announce Project, which, yeah, I do admit. You do have Mark Briscoe kind of rethinking his alliance with these guys. So maybe that's the next feud for Mark. We'll see. We then get Taya Valkyrie versus Emi Sakura, which was a heck of a good match. A lot of good back and forth. At one point we had Taya go for Road to Valhalla but then out comes Jade Cargill and Layla Gray. They're on the ramp, distracts Taya for a minute. Emi Sakura takes advantage. Then we get a big old spear from Taya. Road to Valhalla. Your winner, Taya Valkyrie. Jade Cargill then sends Layla Gray into the fray. She gets hit by the Road to Valhalla. And then we finally get it. face to face, Jade Cargill versus Taya, and they start brawling. And it looks like Taya is going to hit Road to Valhalla. Layla Gray cuts her off, and then Jade hits Jaded for the win, for a really good post-match beatdown. I cannot wait for that match. That match is going to be absolutely great. We then get a JAS rap promo, which was very weird. Pretty much calling out the Acclaimed, calling them cheats, and that everyone wants to join the JAS, whatever. We then get the Acclaimed out. Looks like they're about to do their rap. Then Max pretty much says, nah. They start brawling. They get, I believe it was Matt Menard in by himself. And the Acclaimed are holding him. Then Billy Gunn comes out at him with a pair of scissors, and it looks like they're going to cut his nipples off. Then the JS save him. And we are getting a trios match between these 6 on Dynamite, which should be fun. And Fight Alamo, our main event of the evening. We got Jungle Boy Jack Perry taking on a returning Shawn Spears. Spears has been out of action for a little while as he and his significant other just had a baby boy. Congratulations to you both. This match had no right to be as good as it was, but considering the people involved, I guess I should have known better. This match was absolutely fantastic. A lot of good back and forth, but then your winner via the roll-up, Jungle Boy. Very, very fun match, and honestly, I recommend it. That's going to be something to watch. Alright, that is it for me for my weekly wrestling roundup. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe. Next video probably isn't going to be until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. As, you know, we got a triple header of wrestling this weekend. As tonight we have New Japan Pro Wrestling Capital Collision, which I've been saying I've been going to be able to watch. Apparently, the event I'm going to is actually tonight, so I will not be watching that live. So Sunday's open. That's going to be Rebellion. I'm going to watch that live. And then Monday, Tuesday separated. I'm going to watch Triple Mania and Capital Collision. So look out for that. Either during the day Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, depending on how I feel. That video should be out then. And yeah, hope you guys have an awesome day. Happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.